Welcome to our second Mixed Media Mania YouTube hop. We heard you in the spring, you loved the hop, and we are excited to bring you a second one. We have an amazing lineup of sponsors. Just take a moment to look at all of these companies who are sponsoring us this time. Thank you to every single one of them. You will see some of their products in my project today. My name is Carissa. This is my YouTube channel, Inky Fairy Designs. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping by today. So let's get right to it. I'm working on this artist panel. It is a wood canvas, and I'm going to be using some DecoArt media, matte medium. You'll see a lot of DecoArt media in my project today. They're one of my favorite companies. I love their paints. I love their mediums, and they're one of our sponsors. And this collage paper that I'm doing that I'm using is from another sponsor. They were generous and sent some of their products to play with. And this is from Red Lead Art and Craft, and they're an online store. You can check them out. They have stamps and all kinds of mixed media goodness. And they're actually new to me. I had not heard of them before. We were planning this hop, and I actually kind of squealed when I opened up the package of goodies they sent me. I love this music paper. It's actually just a printable. You know, they printed it on some like copy paper and sent it along with the circles that you see that I'm using and like that postal ephemera piece. It's just really cool because it's just copy paper. So I know a lot of times when we use vintage papers and stuff in our projects, well, for me, I feel kind of guilty if I'm using something. Not that I should, but you know, if it's an original or something, it kind of is just nerve-wracking. But having these printed out and being able to use them, it's just a lot, you know, I'm more keen to use it, I guess. So I'm just starting by adding these little bits and pieces all over my canvas. It is unprimed wood, so you can see the natural wood there. And I wanted to do my collage making before adding any gesso because it really isn't, it doesn't make any point to gesso it first since I'm adding all of these layers with a matte medium. And so it's just very random, and by the end of the project, you won't see one bit of this print. But for me, when I do collage, it's more of a breaking the blank page for me, you know, just like getting into that mode of creating and getting out of my head. And so it's just a way to start the whole process for me. Now, I could have left bits and pieces of it showing, but once you get in the zone, it's just, you know, I'm in the zone and it just takes on a life of its own. So now I'm adding some gesso by DecoArt Media, and their gesso is very thick. It's awesome. You could probably use it through stencils and create some texture. So I add a little bit of water to the canvas and just kind of loosen it up and thin it out a little bit. And then I dry it. So you can see when the gesso dries, it lightens up quite a bit. And now here I am using the modeling paste by DecoArt Media with one of the stencils by Shawn Petite. And she's actually one of our artists and one of our sponsors. And she's giving away, I think, 2 stencils to 10 lucky people. And so be sure to leave those comments in the below on every single video, because you never know what prize is going to be there. And every single video has a prize, so you don't want to leave any of them out, and they're full of inspiration and creativity, and I think you're going to enjoy it. The one thing that we do ask that I wanted to mention here briefly is that when you leave your comment, just let us know what country you're from. So here you see all of that gorgeous texture that I created using the modeling paste through the stencil. Now this stencil is from Red Lead Art and Craft, the same place that sent that ephemera paper, and I loved it. This was one of the things that made me squeal when I opened the package because I didn't know what I was getting, and this stencil is awesome. I love what it says. There's different things. It says, "Today I will begin. Change takes courage and trust." And so I stenciled through that with some archival ink and black soot, and I just created it in that ink pad. And that way I know it's permanent. So if I wanted to add any layers over top, I could. And I was actually stenciling it on mixed media tape by Thermoweb, another sponsor. Look, I said you guys are going to see a lot of our sponsors. Here's another one. Ranger Ink and Mixed Media Place, Finnabair. And so I'm using some of her paints, and this was actually the first time I used her paints, and the colors are gorgeous, first of all, and the paint is super thick. So if you like really thick, kind of opaque paints, you'll love these impasto paints. I had never used them before, and I actually spritz it with water, you'll see coming up, because it is so thick and I wanted it to move a little bit more, but that's just a personal preference. I really love the colors. And then I showed you in the beginning, you could go back and kind of pause it, but to make that green minty color, I actually mixed 3 different paints by DecoArt Media, because I don't have a really minty green color in my paint stash, and that's what I really wanted. I love this color combination, and I was really surprised by how the green mixed with both that purple and that pink. I was scared. I kind of left room in between them because I didn't know how they would mix, but then when I started mixing them together, it was creating this really gorgeous violet, not violet, but like lavender color. So I was really happy with that unexpected color, and that's why I didn't actually use that very light ceram coat paint that I had showed earlier. I actually never even reached for it because I was able to get this really pretty mixture just by blending and mixing those colors that were already on my canvas together. So I'm bringing in some white. Now I'm going to tell you guys, this video is a little bit longer. I tried to shorten it out as much as I could, and I sped it up 4 times what it actually, real time. So that's what you're seeing here. But a lot of this video is me blending and adding colors. And of course, there isn't a canvas or an art journal page that I do where I don't just start dipping my fingers into the paints and adding them to the canvas. And I really like this when I have all of that extra texture on there. If I use modeling paste, or I have that collage underneath, because a lot of times when you use a paintbrush and you go over those things, you're going to fill in all of those nooks and crannies that all that texture created. And when I use my fingers, I'm able to feel it more, and I'm able to rub it just very lightly over top. And then I'm able to see some of the color through the texture in the nooks and crannies, as well as get new colors just on top. So that's one of the reasons I love to finger paint on my canvases, and that's what you're going to see a lot of in this video. So now I'm going to add some stamping for some extra texture and dimension to my canvas. This stamp actually comes from Red Lead Arts and Crafts store as well. They have these awesome red rubber stamps, and I will tell you, I love red rubber stamps. They are awesome in mixed media because I can use them with paint if I want to, and they're super easy to clean with like just water. So I love those, and I'm telling you this, we have some amazing sponsors, so be sure to leave your comments. Now I'm using some art spray by Marabou. This is one of my favorite art sprays to use in mixed media because it is permanent. And yes, Marabou is also a sponsor. I actually went through my stash before I sat down to create this canvas because I wanted to use as much of the sponsor products as I had in my stash. And a lot of them did not send. So I want to just tell you that up front. A lot of them did not send stuff to me personally, but some of them did, and some of them sent them to other artists along the way as well. So they're super generous, not only to be sponsoring these amazing prizes, but also to send product to us to use throughout. So I really appreciate that, and I know I'm like gushing over them, but it just blows me away as we were planning this hop for the second time, how much support we get from the art community and from whether it's the artists who are participating along the hop. And it takes time to create and edit and make these videos, but they love doing it. And I just love that new artists reached out to us to be a part of this one, and it's just very exciting. And so I hope you enjoy them as much as we do putting it together for you. So here I am coming in with some dark blue. I think this is called Denim by Ceramcoat, and it's just a really gorgeous blue. It's almost like a neutral blue to me. And so I'm going around the edges of my canvas, and you can see throughout the video I will make sure to touch all sides of the canvas as well. So whenever I have a canvas, like a wrapped canvas like this one, I always want to make sure that all of the elements that are on the front are along the sides, so when it's hanging on a wall you can see it. So now this is where I am thinking that this looks like the Northern Lights or the Aurora Borealis. And I think I said that right. I totally practiced before doing this. But that's why I added more of that minty green, because that's what it started to kind of look like to me. And I love that about this kind of art, is that, I'll sit down and I'll have an idea in my head as far as like what colors I want to use or what products I want to use. But it's always a surprise what actually comes out from my fingertips, because I always paint with my fingers. And so when I started seeing that in this canvas, it just was like beautiful. And so I had to add more of that mint color. And that's why I kind of streaked it as well, using my fingers, going up and down on the canvas, and, turning the canvas side to side so that I can get, more of that, motion. I just think it creates a lot of interest, and it draws your eye around the canvas. So here I am. Of course, I cover up the entire canvas. You guys know me. I love color. I love painting, and I kind of get carried away, so I have to add in some white myself. Now I'm coming in with this mixed media medium by Thermoweb. It's from their mixed media line, and I have not used this before, and so I wanted to try this technique. And of course, I'm going to try it on a video that a lot of people are going to see. But I'm so glad I did, because it is like my favorite element on this entire canvas. After I add these white splatters, I'm going to show you exactly what I was doing there. I was actually mark making with that medium. And so once I get these splatters dried and all of that dried, I'm taking out this mixed media transfer foil by Thermoweb. It's in old gold, and I'm rubbing it over those marks that I made with that mixed media medium. And what happens is that I actually get gold foil on my canvas, and I don't have to run it through a laminator or anything like that. And so that was just so cool to me. And this will probably be one thing that you see a lot more in my videos. And so once I saw what was happening here, I made sure to rub better, and you can kind of see where you've left the marks if you tilt it, because it'll have like a glossy sheen to it. And so I put it a little bit on the corners, you can see, but I loved it so much I had to add more. And I just wanted to kind of frame out the entire canvas with that gold foil. So that's what I'm doing. I used a paintbrush, but I probably would have had better results now that I'm thinking about it and kind of watching the video back, if I would have just dipped my finger in that medium and run it along the edges of my canvas. But we live and learn, right? And so next time I will try that. I do like, however, how it looks, because it's not perfect, and so some of the foil gets left behind and some areas don't have it. So it just kind of adds a little bit of a grunge with that gorgeous gold foil. So I had to slow down the video so you could really, really see it. I just love it. I'm just amazed. I'm so excited. I love finding treasures in my stash. So now I'm coming in with the food ball pen. This is one of my favorite journaling pens, and all I'm doing is kind of outlining around where I left that white stenciling, and I had begun to kind of lay out where I wanted my main focal point to be on the canvas. So just look at it, make sure that I got everything that I wanted. Now I'm coming in with the white paint marker, the Posca pen that I love using, and making my marks, my little stars all around. I love adding these. It just adds a little bit more interest and texture to the canvas. And then I decided I wanted to do a little bit of journaling, and it's just like that scripty writing that you can't read at all, but it just adds texture, and it's kind of just what I was feeling in the moment. And I want to, when I'm using it on a canvas like this, I'm turning the canvas every which way so that the writing is going left to right, it's going up and down, it's going right to left, just so that it kind of draws your eye around the canvas. Not that anything else is going on that's drawing your eye all over the canvas. It's pretty busy, but I love how it looks. Now this is the mixed media tape by Thermoweb, and let me tell you, it's amazing. A lot of times when I use tapes like this on my canvases, I actually have to put a layer of matte medium or something underneath because there's like tons of texture and stuff, but this tape is sticky and it's gonna stay. And I actually used it when I was, you saw it when I used it to kind of cover up parts of the stencil, and it actually stuck to some of the stencils. It's really, really sticky. But I did add a layer of matte medium on top because I didn't want I didn't want to take the chance that maybe some of the edges would lift or anything. But yeah, that's just really to kind of protect it. And that's the end. That brings us to the end of this canvas and this project. And I absolutely love how it turned out. It's an 8x10 canvas. I will be hanging this up on the wall. Yeah, it's amazing. I had a lot of fun creating it, and I hope you enjoyed seeing it all come together and take shape. I want to remind you to leave a comment on this video along with every single video in the hop, and subscribe to every channel as well. Don't forget to leave your country so that we know which prizes you're eligible for. The giveaway is open for 1 week from October 5th when these videos go live at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time until October 11th at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Winners will be announced on October 19th on my blog as well as Didi's. You can see the links below in the description box. I want to thank you guys again so much for your support of my channel, of the other artists, and for enjoying these hops. They're not easy to put together, but once they come together, it's so fun, and I'm so grateful and humbled by everybody that participates. That's it for me, but be sure to click on this video to go to the next stop on the hop, or you can view the entire playlist under the playlists on my channel. Until next time, guys, do something creative today. Bye.